All right, welcome to everyone joining us for the training on WeVideo. This is a getting started on WeVideo. So if you're new to it or kind of new to it, we're going to learn how to get started as well as our basic editing and share some resources and ideas. This is being recorded, so you can refer back to this later. The ITC's presentations from today will be housed on the Digital Tools Classroom. If you need access to that classroom, here's the code for Schoology here on the screen. I also have the slides. If you would like to be able to follow along with those, you can access them. This slide deck is also already on the Digital Tools Classroom. And if you have any questions throughout this presentation, you can use the Q&A feature in Zoom. And either Gretchen she's here with me, our building technologist, she will help answer them, or I will pause at certain parts in the presentation to see what questions are still there to be answered. And we will do our best to get those all going. So to get started, I just want to preview the Digital Tools Classroom in case you're not sure what I'm referring to by this. So hold on one second and let me exit the full screen here. So in Schoology, if you log in with your district account, there is a Digital Tools classroom here that we used at the beginning of the school year, where we housed our professional development materials then from earlier in the year, and we've been adding resources to this classroom all year long. And right here is a folder for the February PDs that we're doing today, and the recordings will be available for the 19th as well if you want to review some of the other presentations or come back and view this. So inside this folder, I have a WeVideo, and the slides are in there already if you would like to follow along. I am going to be switching back and forth on my screens, eventually doing split screen, so please bear with me as I go through and do that. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and put this in full screen, and we're going to start off with a little introduction of what WeVideo is and how you can use it. All right, so hopefully between you being here and that video, you are hooked and ready to learn about WeVideo. On this slide, there are a lot of helpful resources that I just wanted to share. Of course, reach out to your ITCs at any time, but this WeVideo Educator Guidebook is amazing. It has a lot of resources and it's live. So WeVideo, the company itself, continually updates this and will add updates to it as WeVideo changes. Has a great table of contents for you just to click, so you can, if you need to learn more about how to add media or different things we're going to cover today, you can refer back to this, as well as just ideas and applications of using WeVideo in the classroom. So I highly recommend adding this to your Google Drive or saving it somewhere for you to refer back to. WeVideo also has a great support center where you can ask questions, look for answers with articles and videos. So you can just type your question here directly and see what comes up, or if you know the common topics, this is a great place to go as well. And then there are also on-demand webinars. So if you are the person that likes to do webinars in your pajamas in the comfort of your own home, this is for you for sure. I've sat through some of these webinars when I was first learning WeVideo, and it's really helpful. And it's just, you look through and you can literally watch it now, right when you're ready. And they have different levels. They have beginner levels, as well as intermediate and advanced. So this is a great resource if you want to dive a little bit further into WeVideo on your own. And then finally, the Teacher Resource Center through WeVideo is also amazing. This is where teachers can actually share ideas and get ideas of how they are using WeVideo in the classroom, whether it's lesson plans for leadership, inspiration, just different resources. And lots of different tutorials in here. So some great resources right off the bat for you to check out. The examples here, I'm not going to play now, but you can refer back to this through the slide deck. This is an example of a math video that was made by a teacher explaining and reviewing a math concept using WeVideo. The third grade student biography project is just that. Our third graders did a biography project. They made slides of the person they researched and then used WeVideo to do a screencast as they were dressed in costume as that person. So this is a very cool project to see. And then this was just a video that I made using WeVideo on how to use split screen on a Chromebook for our students. So I purposely put that one in because maybe it'll help your students as well, but just examples of how you can use WeVideo in the classroom. And before we dive into the actually using WeVideo, some pro tips is just remembering when creating videos for both you, your students, whoever's using WeVideo, just remembering that less is more. Keep your video simple, clear, and concise. We don't want a lot of different medium things going on that can get a little confusing. And then also it's best to use WeVideo in full screen, especially as you're using it. You'll be able to see more options versus learning the icons and what they mean. So it is easier, especially on the Chromebooks, to use this in full screen. So if you're on your Mac, you can go full screen using the little green icon that shows up at the top of your screen. And then on a Chromebook, the students have this little button here that they can click and it'll go full screen. All right, so the next part is logging into WeVideo, and believe it or not, there are different ways to do this. So I'm going to actually walk through how to log in and get started. The first way, which I'm really excited about, is through Schoology. So making sure that you're logged into your Schoology account, choosing any course, and then there's a little WeVideo icon on the menu on the left side of the screen. And so I'm going to go ahead and exit my full screen and show that. So here I am in my Schoology. It doesn't matter, again, what course you're in. WeVideos shows up on the left side. For students, there's not as many choices, so it's easier to find, but it will be there for both students and staff. The first time you click on it, you may have to click your Google or district username and connect the accounts. Just as well as when you create your first video or recording, you're going to have to allow your camera and microphone as well. So that's it. I'm in right now. It was a simple click through Schoology, which is great. I love that, especially for our older students that are on WeVideo. The other option, if I come back here to our slide deck, is to log in through the website. So just typing in wevideo.com. So we'll go ahead and go there. Oops, I'm already logged in. Let's do that from the start. So here's the WeVideo website. You just click the Google button, choose your account, and then you're in. If you get by any chance a message that looks like, let's see. Here we go. If you have a message of either an error code or you see an apply code box at all, the apply code means you somehow did not connect to the District 64 account. So if that's the case, you can refer back to the slide deck and you can type in the code here. This is our district code, and then click verify. That will give you access to join the district's account. If you have an error message, you might need to reach out to your ITC to see if there's available licenses. So if you're having a group project with your students, we may eventually run out of licenses and need to purchase more. So just reach out to your ITC if that's the case. I'm going to go ahead and pause there to see quick if we have any questions so far. I'm getting a no so far, no questions. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to start digging into WeVideo a little bit further now that we know how to access it. And again, if you would like to have WeVideo open and follow along with me, that would be awesome. So here is the dashboard for WeVideo when you first log in. And you can quickly access different things and start a video right away. So again, this is the dashboard. On the bottom left-hand corner, you can see a teacher guidebook, which is awesome. There's also a place to join a class or a group. So your students also have that join class or group button, and that's really important. And then again, the dashboard. Also along that dashboard, you have projects, media, exports, and groups, just kind of going down there right along, focusing in on that toolbar at the top. The projects displays any projects that you're working on or that have been shared with you. I like to think of projects as a folder that houses all the video edits that I'm working on. So for example, if I'm a classroom teacher and I'm going to be doing the biography project that our third graders did, I could create a biography project and then share that out with students within my group. And they would all be able to have their video edits in there for me to watch and monitor as a teacher. So projects just house either your individual projects that you're working on, or you can also share projects with your students through your groups. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but just think of it almost as a folder to house everything. Your media tab contains any media that you either create or import or upload into WeVideo. So it can be photos, videos, or audio recordings, sound recordings, and it just kind of houses all that. You can, again, either create them, upload them, or you can even import items from your Google Drive. The exports is where you can find all your finished videos, and you can go back to your exports if you need to find the link again to share, or if you want to download it to embed it somewhere else, you would go to your exports for any finished video. And then your groups are like your classes. So you would create a group that matches your schedule. So if you're an elementary teacher, maybe you're creating one homeroom that is your 20 students that you have for the day. They would be the students in your group so that you could do projects and then be able to see their projects as they're working on them. If you are a middle school teacher, you would maybe set up a group per class period that you have. So think of your groups as your actual classes you teach. All right, any questions before we get into how to set up groups? None so far? Awesome, I'm moving right along then. So setting up groups is a very important step. Sometimes the step gets skipped with new users on WeVideo, and that's okay. But again, the groups are your class. It allows you access to be able to see what your students are working on while they're, doing it, see how far they're along, how much more time they might need. It also allows you to share projects for collaboration so that you could have students working on projects individually or together in small groups. So it really is a great tool to set up your groups before you start any class projects with your students. And again, that's on your groups tab. There's a create group button or a plus sign that you could click, either one. So I'm going to go ahead and you can see some of my groups here. I'm going to switch my screen over to WeVideo and we will take a look at that. So here I am in my WeVideo account. I don't have a group button, so don't get confused. I have an admin button, but you guys have a group button, and then it'll take you to a screen that looks like this. So I have one group in here already. I have no members though, so I still need to add members to this. But if I'm starting from scratch and I don't have any classes, I can click this create group button in the bottom corner. I can title this for whatever class it is. Again, if you're a middle school teacher or a gym teacher, it could be, PE first period or whatever you want it to be, so you can identify those. You can manually add your students if you want right away, and you can search for them. What I like to do is just create the group, and then I'll show you how to share codes so your students can join. So all I did was click the create button. Here it is. I'm going to double click into it. And now once I'm into it, again, I can add members manually. If I really want to take the time and individually look for all my students, I could do that. They have to have a WeVideo account already or have logged into WeVideo to be able to join. Or you can take this group code here in the bottom corner, and you can simply post that in your LMS like Schoology or Seesaw, share it with them in a Zoom meeting one day, and they would just log into their account and join using that code. So let's see, I think I have a student view in our slide deck. Let's see. So if you need to review that, this is just a short video that's showing those exact same steps that I made and how to create your own group. Oh, I forgot this. Oh, the student view is in that video. So maybe we'll watch this for a second really quick because I think I put it in there. So again, naming our group and clicking the create button. Double click to go back into your group. And then again, the code is on the bottom left that you would give your students. And, oh, I did not do it, but that's okay. We will backtrack here. And remember when I said this join group class button here, when you log in, your students have that button as well. So they would click that and type in that group code. All right. Any questions about creating or starting a group?
We had one question that I answered.
Yeah, go ahead and tell me that question just in case anyone else might have it.
Are students able to work on a project at the same time?
Oh, that's a great question. Are students allowed to work on a project at the same time? So in WeVideo, if you share a project, you can. Let me go into one of mine. I'll create a new one really quick. So right now WeVideo offers where you can personally make your own video or project. You can do one collaborative. This is in beta, meaning it's being tested right now. So it used to be where they could work on them, but only one person could edit at a time and you wouldn't notice the other person's edit. And they're finally updating the program where they can be in real time working together. Again, this is new, so we kind of have to see how that goes. They're testing it out, but I have seen it work. And then there's also the shared projects. In this one, they're working on one project to make one video. So you can see 3 people making one video. On the shared one, they are all individually making their own projects, but you'd be able to see them, and the members of the group could see each other's videos as well when they're done. So that's kind of the difference of how you would do those projects. Awesome. Any other questions? Awesome. Okay, so we'll go straight into the video creation part. Please feel free to put those questions in if I go too fast on any of this, because there is a lot of information and visually there's just a lot. So let me know. There are 2 different views that you can be editing or creating a video in. And one is timeline, one is storyboard. Timeline, you can see here at the top, it looks a little bit more complicated, but it allows, actually, it's easier to edit. We encourage most of our students to use the timeline view because it allows more editing. You can see different video layers versus audio layers. And once you get to know the program, it's easier. So down here at the bottom is the actual timeline that we'll go into, and we'll be spending most of our time on this today. On this view is our media up here, and where you can click and drag things down into your video. And then you have a box on the upper right corner to preview your video at any point to see what you've done so far. So one thing with students is to really emphasize whatever you're seeing on this left side is not part of the video until they drag it down onto their timeline. So that's just one important view. If you want to learn more about timeline, WeVideo has a great video that they created that kind of goes over this. So I left that there, and we're going to switch into timeline in just a little bit. But that one is usually recommended as you can do more with it. Storyboard mode, however, is really good for beginners, or if you just want to do something really fast and quick with minimal editing. You can arrange clips in any order, so you can still trim them and add text and do soundtracks if you want. So you still have some of the same features, but it's a little bit more basic. You can kind of tell from the image down here, instead of the timeline, it's kind of just like boxes or squares. It kind of chunks it out a little bit differently. So some people also like to start in storyboard and then switch it over to timeline. But for, at least for the projects I've worked on so far, I start my 3rd graders and up on the timeline just because that's more commonly used. So I start them about 3rd grade-ish with the timeline. So here is timeline view continued a little bit more, and we're going to kind of dig in, and I'll switch back and forth between the actual slide deck versus WeVideo to show you. But just like I said earlier, the bottom is the actual timeline. This is where your video media will be, where you can rearrange it, edit, all that fun stuff. So on the left side here, you can see your video 1 and your video 2. This is to layers. So video 1, I like to think of as like the main big picture, almost like the background. And then video 2 is a layer on top of that. It would be in the forefront of that or on top of. So maybe you put a title or something over. That would kind of be over, or if you want a little screencast and your box showing up, your little box would be this video 2. And then you have audio. There's this little tiny plus button that we'll be talking about later, but you can add multiple tracks. So if you need more audio or more video or whatever, you can add as many tracks here as you want to be editing. This little blue bar kind of moves you along in your timeline, and it allows some trimming and some other editing we'll talk about in a little bit. Again, the red box here on this screen shows the media that you're either creating or importing. So you can see here in this example, I didn't have much media in here all ready to go, but that's okay. And then I have my yellow box over here where I could click to preview any of my video that once I start creating. So that's just a preview to see how you're doing. Some fun facts to know right away on this is up here at the top left corner. You can name your video, so you can click on that right away and rename it. You don't have to wait till the end of your project. You could do that when you first get started if you want. And then WeVideo has an essentials library. So that's the stock media right here that it's being pointed to. And it has thousands of images, little video clips, audio tracks, sound, music, all different things that you can use right within WeVideo without having to worry about copyright or anything else. So that's really important, especially with our students, to try to use some of that stock media as well as creating our own. All right. The next thing I'm going to preview is how to do a recording. This is what I see being used most often, is either just recording a video using my webcam. So all I want is to show myself. Sometimes I just want to record my screen and do a screencast with my voice. Or the third option is to do a screencast with the web camera. So I'd have a box of myself showing up on my screen. This is used a lot, I feel like, with some of our student projects, if they make a slideshow and then they want to narrate it and have their box showing up. So there's all these different options. And if you want to see other videos, I have that WeVideo Academy linked at the bottom of this slide. There are a ton of videos there. One thing before I switch over to show you how to do these really quick is to make sure, again, that you allow your camera and microphone when recording for the first time. And then when you're sharing your screen in WeVideo, I think it is best to share just the Chrome tab and then selecting whether it's WeVideo or maybe you have a slideshow open, have whatever website or resource open first and then share the Chrome tab. It's easier for starting and stopping the recording of WeVideo, just in my opinion. So something there to talk about. So I'm going to switch back over to WeVideo here. I'm going to go to my dashboard as if I just logged in, and we are going to start a recording. So I'm going to do an example. Do we have a question?
I had one question I
Yep.
answered, but they wanted to know if you could go over how to make a group code. So basically, once you make a group, it generates the code.
Yeah. Okay. So the question was just really quick reviewing the group code. So on my screen, I have admin, but on your screens as teachers, you're going to have the word group up there. Let me go back. Sorry. Oops, here we are. So on a teacher screen, you'll see a group button that you'll be in. So that's the one thing to notice, just that mine's a little different. But once you're in that groups screen, there's a blue plus sign where you can just click. Give your group a name after whatever class period or whatever it might be. We'll just do example. Again, you can manually search for your students if you really want to, if they've already logged into WeVideo and have an account. I just do my name and then click create. The group code that was being asked about, if I double click into the group that I want to share, the code shows up on the bottom left-hand corner of your WeVideo. So this is the code that I would give my students so that they can join and be a part of my class. Remember, the groups are your classes in WeVideo. Awesome. Any other ones that just might have popped up? Cool. All right. Jumping back around, we were doing the recordings. Yes. Okay. So back to my dashboard. I can either click into a video if I really want. I'm going to just click straight into recording. So in the recording, again, like I showed on the slides, I have 3 different options. I have a webcam option that is just me. I can record just my screen and my voice if I want, or no voice even, or I can do screen and webcam. And then again, it asks where you want your project to be saved. Remember, projects, I know there's a lot with WeVideo, but projects are the folders that you would want to save it in. So if I'm making videos for me as a teacher, I typically save them in my projects folder. But if I was going to be doing a class project with my students, I would name that after whatever the project might be, like biographies or Chicago project or math project, whatever it might actually be. So for webcam, I'm going to quickly show each one of these. You're just going to click on which one you want, click next. We'll see if my cameras all work because I'm on Zoom at the same time. You can choose your camera as well as your microphone. If for whatever reason you want to make a video of yourself without any microphone, you can just click on this and do no audio. Or if you have a headset or anything else, or external microphone, you can connect other devices or microphones to your computer. And then once you're ready, just click the start recording button. It will count down for you. And so here I am recording my webcam video of myself. You can see the timer is ticking away. I can see myself and preview it. If I make a mistake, I can click the cancel button, or I can click the stop button when I'm ready. And it allows you to play this so you can preview it and decide if it was good or if you want to redo it again. So at this point, you could preview, click either record again, and it'll just delete this file, or you can click the save button and it'll add to your media over here. So I'm going to go ahead and save that just for the fun of it. And then you can see it'll process here. It also will automatically bring it down into a timeline video. So it switched my screen. I'm now editing a video here, which is kind of cool. So maybe I only need part of this. We'll get into editing in a little bit, but I can drag this over to see different parts and I can play it to preview, but I'm not going to do that right now. So that's just one way to do a recording. I'm going to show you the next 2 options with recording really quick. This time I'm within my video and I want to do a second recording. So I'm going to click the record button within this project already that I'm editing. And this time I want to record just my screen. So I'm going to choose that and click next. It's going to ask about microphones. So again, I can choose either my internal or if I have another microphone attached. If I want to make just a video showing different clicks on the screen, I can always do no audio as well. So this time I'm going to do no audio. Oops. I don't know what I did. Let's try again. Screen. We'll just click next this time. I think I talked too long. And whenever you're doing your screen, again, I choose my Chrome tab and I'll show you why in just a minute. I'm going to click WeVideo. Hopefully this is the one I'm in right now since I have it open many times. And I'll click share. Okay. So I see this blue outline around my screen that I'm sharing. So anything within here that I'm moving or clicking, that is being recorded right now. And then the reason I chose to do the Chrome tab is I get this really user-friendly stop button so that when I'm done recording, I just have to click that button. I can also tell that I'm recording though because I have the red recording button up here on my WeVideo tab. So that's really helpful. So I'll go ahead and stop that. Just like the other option, I can preview it and decide to record again, or I can click to save it. So I'll save it again this time. And you can see it gets added to my media. It also was immediately added to my timeline. Maybe I don't want this first one, or maybe I want both. Maybe I'm going to get fun and I'm going to record this like this for now. And I'll explain what I'm doing in a little bit. But before that, the last recording option is your screen and webcam. I'm not going to spend too much time, but I will click through this pretty fast. You want to make sure you can see your camera, yourself in your camera. And the weird part about this is that it's going to show your screen only. and you're going to feel like you're not recording yourself, but it will record both tracks. It does record both your screen and your webcam. It just doesn't feel like it. So don't get confused by this. All right, so this time it looks like the other one. I have my blue outline and I'm recording anything on my screen. What I don't see is the recording of myself, but when I click the stop button, I will have both recordings. So let's go ahead and see that really quick. So here, now that I've stopped, that's a fun picture of myself. I have the recording on myself from my web camera. Again, it gets confusing for students too because they don't see themselves being recorded, so that can be confusing, but it is recording when you choose that option. And then again, your screen recording as well. You can preview, record again, or save. I'll go ahead and save that one. And this time it shows up as 2 different tracks in my media, but on my timeline, it shows up with 2 tracks, but it imports them one right above the other, so they're aligned already. So that is super cool. One tricky part before I get to questions is when I do the screen and webcam and it shows up above each other, it automatically has the picture-in-picture there. And if you want to be able to edit that, you click on the track of yourself, of your webcam, and there's this tiny little pencil. And now I can click and I can move that box because I'm editing this track and I can make it smaller or larger. I can also use the buttons over here on this side. I could make it huge or, resize it again to make it smaller. So lots of fun things that kids like to play with. You can flip, rotate, all sorts of stuff. And then when you're ready, you just click the save button. Notice when I have these 2 tracks, if I drag this back over here, these were individually recorded. One video is currently covering the other. So the video of myself on video 2 is on top of or showing over my screen. So I'm going to click the video of myself, click the pencil. And now if I make that video smaller, my screen is actually underneath it. Sometimes that happens with our students and that can get confusing. So I just really wanted to emphasize if you see 2 tracks, but one is showing up here, it's because one is covering the entire screen and you have to make it smaller. I'm going to stop there. Any questions as I kind of maybe get rid of some of this? No questions yet? Awesome. Okay, let's go back to my slides because I could get way off track with the amount of stuff that is here. Okay, so adding media is going to be next. Media can be videos, it could be images, backgrounds, sound of some kind. So let's go ahead and take a look at that in WeVideo. This is a little GIF that I made showing you how to do a few things, but let's talk about it in detail. So here are the 2 tracks I screen recorded already. But if I want to add any other media, you can see I have random stuff in here already. Like, hey, you guys want to meet my cat Taco wearing a taco hat? He's pretty cool. Or I can click and drag my dog in. This is Pudge. He's pretty fascinating. So these are just all images or videos or things that I've imported from my Google Drive. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. I can also, again, click the stock media. So this is my media. I can click the stock media, which is the essentials library that WeVideo has. So maybe I'm going to do a video all about cats because who doesn't love cats? And I have all of these resources. Oh my gosh, these are hilarious. I have all of these resources at my fingertips that I don't have to worry about copyright at all and stealing anyone's work. And if I keep scrolling too, I can see like noises. So maybe I need a cat meowing. And if you want to filter, if you know you're looking for something specifically, like you just want audio or a sound, you can click this little button and search specifically for videos, images, or audio about your topic, whatever you're looking for. That's just, preference. And then once you find what you want, like this has 11 seconds, so that's a little video clip. I'm gonna just kind of drag that down and it's part of my video now. If you just click on it at the top, it will start previewing here so you can watch all of it before you choose to use it. So I was anxious and I just clicked and dragged it and I didn't watch it first. So that was a bad choice. I'm gonna delete that. I don't like that one. Let's see. let's get rid of these recordings too. Maybe I will preview this one. Oh, that guy looks nervous. Ooh, what's happening? I have no idea. This could make for a great funny video. So I'm gonna click and drag that one down onto my main video here. Okay, so you just, very simple, you find your media and click and drag. The fun part is adding multiple layers. So I'm gonna add some, let's see, I can add text. So as you can see here, I clicked on the text button. I have all different title options, some that come in with motion. And again, I can just click on them to preview it before I decide what I want. There's all these different options here on the left side too. So I do recommend spending some time and just kind of playing around in here. But like some of these are great for like titles. There's different seasonal ones that are really great. And then there's call out buttons. So like if you're doing an instructional video, like you can use arrows and point to things. So I'm gonna drag an arrow onto here. And now I have an arrow pointing at my cat, but maybe I don't want it right there. So I can click the pencils key for editing, click that little pencil icon. And now I can kind of manipulate that on my screen. Like, what is he, like, let's look at his paw. What's his paw doing? You can change the color of it. So when you're in here and kind of learning the basics of this, don't be afraid to click and just kind of play around. I'm totally just winging it right now. Maybe you want your arrow to move. So I'm on this little animation key, and you can do this with anything. It doesn't have to be the arrow. You can do it with text and pictures and any of your media. But I'm going to click where I want it to start. So maybe I want it to start down here, and then I can click and I want it to end, pointing at his nose for some reason. I don't know. And then I'll click, let's preview that and see what happens. So now my arrow's moving. That's pretty crazy. And again, you can do this with text too. Audio is another option. Again, I'm not going to play all these right now, but there are some really cool sounds on here. This is free music. There's sound effects, and they're broken down into different categories. And then there are some premium music choices. So you can kind of play around with the audio as well. I'll drag one audio, I guess. Pig doesn't make sense with my cat, but we'll drag that down for later so I can show you a little bit more on editing your audio in just a little bit. You can add transitions. This is kind of where WeVideo gets a little intense with all this editing, but you can, again, click to kind of preview what it might look like. So maybe I like this one. I'm going to put it with my cat and dog over here. And so if I'm just looking at this part of my video, it's going to have some crazy sound too with pigs. So that's really not going to make sense. I'm going to lower my volume so I don't hurt your guys' ears, because I don't know what it's going to be at. And let's see what happens here. I should see my cats, I should hear some pigs, and it should transition to my dog, which is weird. All right, my pigs are kind of quiet, but it's there. So that's a little bit about transitions. And then such a random video I'm making. The backgrounds are really fun for like titles and things like that. So I can just click and drag one in here. Whoops, let's maybe move my cats. Oh, I really have to move it. This is really long. Once you have it in there, you can shorten it so you don't have to have, a title for 10 seconds. You just click and very much manipulate whatever you want, however you want it. And then I don't want my arrows showing up there yet. So I'm just going to kind of drag everything with where I want it. And now maybe on my title, though, my introduction, I do want some text now to introduce my crazy video. So that's where I can go back to my text options and choose either something that's moving out of motion or static. Oh, that's a fun one. So I'm going to just click and drag that one down. Oops, I have to move this over again. There is a way to insert and push. I don't know why that's not coming up for me right now, though. So it's just a matter of kind of playing around with stuff. I'll just delete that. You can delete stuff as you go too. So we'll get rid of those guys actually. We'll move this for just a minute. So you can see I'm just kind of moving things around. The key is this blue line here that I'm using to make sure that like my words are aligned with my background before my next piece kicks in here. So now I really don't want it to say bada boom. So again, I'm going to click, see how I have this orange box around the text or the title box right now. That means I'm editing that piece. Or I could edit the arrow or the background, but I'm going to go back to the title and I want to click that pencil icon. And now I have options to type in whatever I want. Cat, oh cats, why not? Something weird. I can change the colors too for whatever I want it to look like and make it, you know, fun. And oh, I forgot to show you can change the text. There are text options here and the size as well. You can click on your text box and, you know, move it around over here in the preview too, on the preview side, make that look like you want. And then there's also, I just clicked on this icon here to be able to make it larger or smaller scale wise. So that's kind of fun. We'll just save it like that. All right, so that's adding all sorts of media in a very quick overview. I do want to come back and talk about the sound, but I want to make sure if we have any questions first and see where I'm at in the slides. There's no questions so far. Okay, we'll go over this slide really quick. I talked about most of this, I think, but I do miss stuff. Again, there's a video linked here already on timeline mode that WeVideo created themselves. But this is a close-up of that timeline view that we were just looking at with our audio track and our different video tracks here. You can click the plus sign to add another audio or video track. Your favorite button of all time with anything is the undo button in case you make a mistake. No big deal, just click undo. The trimming, I haven't showed that yet, but the little scissors can trim or cut off pieces of the video that you don't want. So you drag this blue line wherever you want it and then hit the scissors. So I'll show you that when I go back into WeVideo. The pencil I talked about a lot. That's really helpful for editing and changing the size, position, and all that other stuff I showed you. This changes like the opacity of the video. You can do audio options. I'm drawing a blank, honestly, on what this FX is, so I should probably click that when we go back into WeVideo and see what that does. And then the trash can, if you don't want anything, you can also highlight it with the orange box and click the backspace or delete button on your keyboard. So that orange border, again, means that you're editing that specific clip or medium. And then the audio, we didn't really go into editing audio yet. I just showed you how to click and drag it down. But this blue line in here that I'm going to go back into WeVideo and show you is the volume or how loud it is. So maybe you want your video starting out super, or the audio clip starting out really loud, and then you want it to go lower or quieter as you're starting to narrate your video or providing other audio. You can definitely change the levels using this blue line here, and there's a couple other ways. So let's hop back into WeVideo really quick. All right, so the trim button, maybe I don't need as much of this cat video because it's extending beyond what I have here with my arrow. So I can click this little blue line and line it up with where I want it. My cat box is now orange. That's the one I want to trim. And so I just click the scissors. And now you can see I have two different clips here. Whichever one I don't want, I can click and then I can delete it. So that's how you would trim the beginning or end of a video. You could get really fancy and trim out like the middle section. If there's like a mistake in the middle, you just trim that and then delete the middle. And in that case, you can see I did all three. So you really got to kind of pay attention to that orange box and what you're editing, but that's the trimming. And then let's see what this FX is. Oh, the effects, that would make sense for FX. So you can definitely blur, choose any of these effects and add it to your video as well. That totally makes sense. Okay. And then really quick, the audio, like I said, this blue line is kind of your volume. So you can click the blue line where the white dot, and maybe you want it to start out quiet and then get louder. You can add multiple dots just by clicking on the blue line. And then you move those dots to do the volume. You can also come over here to your audio track and just change the audio for the entire track in general, and go from there. And you can also just delete the entire track at one time by hitting the trash can over here, and it will, whoops, it should. Oh, I have it highlighted. Let's see. Oh, it's not letting me right now. That's weird. But again, if that doesn't work for whatever reason, you can click it and just backspace it. All right, any questions so far? I'm realizing the time, so I'm trying to go a little bit faster. I don't think there's any questions so far. We're good. All right, so the next other options, I kind of talked about this already while I was in there just kind of playing around. When you have an image or a video on video, whatever it might be, click the little pencil, and then these are the options that come up for when you're editing with that pencil. You can crop an image, change audio levels within this. You can animate or move it. So that's when I moved the arrow starting at the bottom and going to the top. Change colors. Color keying is used for like green screen type items you can do. And then you can change the speed of your video track as well. The scale changes the size of the media. And then of course, saving your editing, anything you change or edited, you want to make sure you save those changes. All right, the next step is your video is all done and you are ready to save it. You're going to have different options. The first time you go to save a video, you are going to want to connect your Google Drive accounts. So you're going to click your district email and then allow it. And you can choose a thumbnail that comes up. The thumbnail is kind of like that picture, that image that shows at the beginning of your video before you click the play button. So you can choose one of those options. And if you don't like any of the thumbnails that WeVideo picks out for you, there's an expert tip on here. If you go back into your video where you're editing and put that blue line where you want it and put Control-S, it'll save that option or that image as a thumbnail when you come back into here. So that's pretty cool. So let's finish this video that I've been making this whole time. So if I really want this, no, not that one. Why not? I want this part of my video for some reason to be the thumbnail. It's kind of a weird one, but with this blue line right here where I have it, where I want it, I'm going to hit Control-S, I hope. And it just said it was capturing the image. So we'll see if it's there when I go to finish. So I'm done editing. This video is interesting, but that's what I'm going with. And I'm going to click finish. I'm going to give it a name because I never did that up here when I was talking about it. And we're going to call this just Funny Cat right now. And set. And then we have this option. So I'm going to go ahead, choose my thumbnail that I want. I have my title. You can choose to do just your video, just the audio. If you have a short enough video, you can save it as a GIF too. And then HD comes out as higher quality. It's not going to be as blurry. It will automatically save to WeVideo and you'll get a notification up here in your account when it's ready. You don't have to wait for it. You can also connect your Google Drive, which would then get you the Google Drive shareable links. So that is really user-friendly. And you simply click the export button once you've clicked those options. On this screen, you don't have to wait. You can close out, open a new window, do whatever you need to do. You can go back into the editor. You will get a notification when this is done. So you don't have to sit here and wait for it. You can go ahead and do something else while you're waiting. So again, just the first time if you're connecting your Google Drive account where your students are, make sure you give them a heads up. They're going to have to click their account and allow their access to their Google Drive. Again, once your video is done, it's going to show up like this. I will get there in just a minute. You can find your video under exports. I just realized I'm pointing to the wrong option, but you can go to exports to see any videos you've already finished. So maybe you want to re-download or download it or get a shareable link, you would go there. When it first comes up as finished, you have an option here to download it. you can click the share button here to get a shareable link for WeVideo. So it'd bring it, students or other people back to the screen just to be able to play it. And then up here, the little bell is where you get the notification when the video is done processing. So let's see if this short little video, oh, it's still going, almost done. Let's see, is that my last slide? Wow, I think it is. Yep. So let's see if this is done processing, almost. So again, on a teacher account, you get an email when your video is done. So that's really helpful too. If you even want to close out of this tab, you don't have to leave it open. You would get an email notification, as well as here it goes. I just got my notification by my bell here. If I keep this open, you can see I get the link right away on this screen that I can copy and paste elsewhere. I can download it. I can click that share button and get the link, or an embed code if you want to embed it into like a Google slide. There's lots of different options, but say you close this tab. Let's do that. Let's close that tab. And then let's go back into WeVideo. Again, I'm just going in through Schoology, maybe. Oops, there it is. So another fun part, I just clicked on the Chrome icon because it opens in a new window. So sometimes your students especially might kind of need to look for that second window. It's kind of hiding behind it. So there it is. And I'm back in and I still have that notification. So if you close out, you don't have to worry about it. Click that notification, click your video, and then here you are on this awesome screen where, again, you can download it or get the shareable link by copying. If you had clicked the Google Drive button, you will also have this video show up in your Google Drive. Any questions at all from anyone? That was a ton of information thrown at you guys really fast. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Please feel free to look back at the slide deck and the resources that I've embedded in there. And if you have any other questions or want to collaborate on anything, feel free to reach out to your ITCs as well. I'm going to hang out for a few more seconds to see if anyone else has any other questions. Otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for coming. I hope you learned something awesome at this presentation. Okay, so the question that I was given just now is about audio tracks and lining them up when you have multiple. It can be difficult. I don't really know necessarily of a trick per se, but we can go back into WeVideo and kind of, oops, did I close it? Here we go. Kind of go there. So I'll just start a quick video and add random, I'm going to just save it to my projects because it's just for me right now. I will add random audio clips. So here's one, and then maybe I want to add, since the person asking had lots of audio, they said, and they were trying to line up different audio. So there's a couple, I don't know how many audio tracks we are talking about lining up. So maybe I'll add another one just for the fun of it. And I don't know in what sense you guys are doing this. So if this is not answering your question, feel free to reach out to me after this webinar. The trick that I use is using this blue bar that moves. It really kind of lines up the seconds and everything perfectly. So I put that bar down kind of first of where I want everything to be in line. And I honestly look at the timestamp. It's at 15:10 right now. And then that's where I would kind of then move this clip over and kind of just slowly drag it to where I want it. And now that's where I want it in line. I don't know if that's kind of what people were referring to, but maybe that's the line right there. Now that I have it, that I want to trim it for whatever reason, I could then click the scissors and it will separate the ones that are longer and I can get rid of them. And now these are all in line there. So again, not really sure if that answered the question or not. If you want to reach out to me later, please go ahead and do that. But this blue bar is really kind of the helpful tool, and looking at the timestamp right here is kind of how I line stuff up. So any other questions coming in? These are great questions. No? All right, then. Well, thank you everyone for joining and have a great day.